Newlyweds Bill and Omaima Nelson were celebrating their first Thanksgiving together when something went terribly wrong. Bill had been reported missing 3 days later by his employer, but before an investigation could even begin, he was found in the worst possible way. Soon, details emerged that shocked even the most seasoned police detectives, as well as the public. Welcome to Go Dutch TV. I'm Duchess, and this is Cases and Cocktails.
Duchess said give y'all this disclaimer. This video is for entertainment purposes only. All statements and information relayed was obtained from various news and media outlets available on the internet and personal opinion. Law school never saw her, nor is she a journalist. Everything is alleged, or allegedly. Enjoy the video.
Omaima Nelson was born in 1968 in Egypt, though her exact date of birth is not known. She was one of 16 children born into a very poor and very abusive family. At the age of 6, at the behest of her father, she was forced to undergo female genital castration, a form of mutilation that is currently illegal in Egypt. While this procedure is supposedly to keep young ladies chaste, her father was both physically and sexually abusive to both his wife and his daughters. Her mother eventually left him and moved to Cairo Necropolis, the city of the dead. This area is surrounded by graveyards and considered to be one of the most impoverished slums in the region. Omaima grew to be a very beautiful young lady, and her family encouraged her to capitalize on her looks. In 1986, at the age of 18, she met United States-born oil worker Roger Stainbrook. With full encouragement from her mother, they married, and she relocated to the United States with her new husband, Roger. However, this was a situation of grand opening, grand closing. The marriage was over within a year. She kept with what she knew and capitalized on her looks. After having odd jobs as a nanny and a maid, she became a full-blown city girl, young Miami and JT. She was scheming and she was gold digging. Living in Southern California, she used her exotic looks to her advantage. She frequented places where older men were. Miss Lady said, "I'm gonna go where the money is." However, she had a nasty little habit of playing S&M games with her boyfriends, and while they were tied up, she would rob them. Not only did she rob them, she kind of stole from everybody. In 1989, she stole a car from her then boyfriend, Jack Horton. Baby Miss Omaima said, "I'm going to show you what a joyride really is," and she took his car. Then in 1990, her boyfriend, Robert Hansen, accused her of, after tying him up for a supposed, little night of fun, she drew down on him and demanded every bit of his money. He was able to escape his bondage and wrestle the gun away from her. Because he was embarrassed, he decided not to press charges. Another boyfriend, Richard Gray, accused her of putting a knife to his neck. But Omaima says that was just a cute little sex game they was playing. Aside from strong-arm jacking her boyfriends, she also had a little shoplifting problem. She had several arrests from stealing from stores, department stores, and pharmacies. I don't know what she was stealing from the pharmacies, but that's on the list too. One of her shoplifting charges got an extra charge of battery when she was caught by 2 security guards in the department store. She almost bit a chunk off of one of the female security guards' boob. In 1991, at the age of 23, she met her forever, Bill Nelson. Texan William Edwin Nelson, also known as Bill, was 56 at the time he met 23-year-old Omaima. They met in Southern California after he'd been released from a 4-year bid. You see, Bill was a former pilot in Texas, but he'd been arrested and served time for attempting to transport 100 tons of marijuana from Mexico into the United States via his job. He lost his job, of course, did his time, and relocated to Southern California for a new beginning. He met Omaima at a pool hall in October of 1991. After 2 days of knowing her, he proposed. None of Bill's friends or family had anything bad to say about him. While he was a larger-than-life personality, it seems, according to reports, he was an all-around good guy. He was a little bit flashy. He had money and he liked to show it. He often carried around wads of cash. He wore big belt buckles, and Omaima just loved the flashy red cowboy boots that matched his classic red 1975 Corvette. After knowing one another less than a month, they reportedly married November 1st of 1991. According to the pair, there was an Egyptian ceremony held by phone with an Egyptian man of the cloth before they went to the justice of the peace to make it official. These claims were disputed in court as Bill was not yet divorced from his first wife, so the validity of that marriage was called into question. However, Omaima did take his surname, Nelson. The couple honeymooned with a road trip to Texas for her to meet his friends and his family. He introduced her to his adult children. Bill did have 5 children and 17 grandchildren. And during the visit, while horseback riding, Omaima was thrown from a horse. She refused to seek medical attention, though everyone that was present was like, "Oh my gosh, girl, you need to go to the hospital." Omaima was like, "Bullshit, give me a shot of vodka and a couple of aspirin. I'm good." His daughter reportedly said, "That is one tough cookie." They liked her. After their brief road trip honeymoon to Texas, they returned to Costa Mesa, California, because at this time, Bill was working as a computer programmer and he had to get back to work. He had his trophy wife, love of his life, and all supposedly was well. Mind you, they were married allegedly on November 1st. Then came Thanksgiving, the couple's first Thanksgiving together. According to Omaima, all was not as it seemed between she and her supposed high roller husband. Omaima says Bill was abusive. Even on the honeymoon trip, he was sexually abusive. He often threatened her with calling immigration to have her deported if she did not want to perform certain sexual acts. She also said that he pimped her out to his well-to-do friends and even forced her to sleep with their landlord for the rent. On Thanksgiving Day, according to Omaima, Bill tied her to the bed that morning and sexually assaulted her. After breaking free, she says that she hit him over the head with a lamp, then began to stab him with scissors repeatedly. After stabbing him with scissors, she grabbed a clothes iron and began to beat him with the iron. His official cause of death is homicide by stabbing. So it seems he may have already been dead when Miss Omaima was going ham with the iron like he was a white button down. That was bad enough, but it got much, much worse. According to a psychologist who spoke extensively with Omaima while she was in jail awaiting trial. After hitting Bill with the lamp, stabbing him repeatedly with scissors, and beating him with an iron, she donned a red hat, red lipstick, and red high heels. And we enter, I don't even know what we entered. Things went very dark. For the next 12 hours, Omaima dismembered Bill. Neighbors describe hearing the garbage disposal run for hours. At the time that Bill was found, it had totally burned out. After dismembering Bill's body, Omaima put some of Bill's body parts with leftover turkey in trash bags. She put some in boxes. She put some parts, organs, in jars. She deep fried his hands, according to her, to remove the fingerprints. She also deep fried his head, wrapped it in foil, and put it in the freezer. I don't think this drink's strong enough. She then, after removing his organs and disemboweling him, hung his torso in the bathroom on the shower rod, totally skinned. Bill was 6'4", 230 pounds. Only 150 pounds of his remains were discovered. The remaining 80 pounds, including his man parts that she'd castrated, were never found. Omaima told the police when confronted with this math not mathing, he was all there. According to the psychiatrist at trial, Omaima told them not only had she played Lady in Red to dismember, skin, and cook parts of her husband on Thanksgiving, she ate his ribs. She states she prepped Bill's rib meat restaurant style, and I quote, "I did his ribs just like in a restaurant. It's so sweet. It's so delicious. I like mine tender." On December 1st, Omaima took off with some of Bill's body parts in bags in his 75 Corvette that she loved so much, and she started showing up at the homes of some of her acquaintances. First, she went to Anaheim to the home of Richard Gray and attempted to get him to help her dispose of body parts. Richard Gray was like, "I don't want no parts. I ain't doing none of the things." And he immediately alerted authorities. At this time, his employers had already put out a missing persons report because Thanksgiving was November 28th. He had yet to return to work. That report had not gotten to the authorities that got the report from Richard Gray about Omaima's claims. A few hours later, in the wee hours of December 2nd, Omaima turned up at the house of another acquaintance, Jose Esquivel. She told him that her husband had sexually assaulted her, and she showed him cuts on her wrists, thighs, chest, and her feet. She asked him to help her dispose of Bill's entrails and his dentures. She already knew where she wanted him to throw them. She offered him $75,000 that was in a safe at the house. In truth, this safe only had $100 in it, but still, Jose was like, "Oh yeah, I got you. Give me 1 second. You just wait right here." And while she was waiting, he went and called the police. In the meantime and in between time, the police have already gone to the townhome that Omaima and Bill shared and made the absolutely gruesome discovery. According to police, blood was all over the apartment, on the sofas, on the walls. The mattress on the bed was still dripping blood at the time that they arrived. They went into the kitchen, found the deep fried hands, the deep fried head in the fridge. They found the organs in jars, and then they went into the bathroom and found a perfectly skinned, entrail and organ removed torso hanging on the shower curtain rod. Of course, Omaima was promptly arrested. Initially, during interrogation, Omaima said that there were no issues, no arguments, no problems between she and Bill, and that 2 women and 3 guys broke into their apartment, drugged her, and did whatever they did to Bill. They then attempted to frame her by planting his body part here, there, and everywhere around the apartment while she was sleeping, girl. Her trial for first-degree murder began almost 1 year to the day later on December 1st, 1992. Omaima accused Bill of all of the things: domestic violence, sexual assault, pimping her out. The Orange County DA countered, stating that Omaima was a seasoned pro who preyed on older men and used bondage games to rob them. A medical examination conducted December of 1991, shortly following Omaima's arrest, showed no signs. It was also determined that the injuries that Omaima showed Jose were either self-inflicted or a result of the assault she put upon Bill and or his corpse. Bill's fried wrists also had ligature marks, showing that he had been tied up when this assault began and was totally defenseless. As if this was not the darkest of the dark already and incredibly sensationalized at the time, the #1 movie was Silence of the Lambs. There were pictures of Bill's body parts hung around the courtroom, and once the psychiatrist took the stand, it was all over for Omaima. The psychiatrist spoke of the lady in red look that she donned to go into phase 2 of her massacre, and then explained what Omaima said happened with at least a couple pounds of Bill. She was a little spent and she was a little hungry, and she decided she wanted some ribs. Bitch. The psychiatrist also stated that Omaima was in a psychotic state when she murdered and then ate parts of her husband. The psychiatrist went on to state that in their 20 years of experience, they never had a conversation with a subject so bizarre and so psychotic. The defense attempted to use Omaima's childhood trauma to help her. It did not. After 6 days of deliberation, the jury returned a verdict of guilty of second-degree murder. According to the foreman, they could not come to a decision on first-degree murder because there was no evidence that this was premeditated. Omaima Nelson was sentenced to 27 years to life in prison. She has been up for parole twice. It was denied both times. She will again be up for parole in 2026. She will be 58 years old. That is our Thanksgiving cases and cocktails. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to be dropping videos for you guys every Wednesday. And because we are in the holiday season, we've gotten Thanksgiving out of the way and now it's full blown towards Christmas. You will be receiving some Christmas crime videos over the next couple weeks. If you haven't already, please like, share, turn on your notification bell, comment, and please subscribe. Let's grow the royal court. I appreciate each and every one of you. And until next time, be blessed, be fabulous, and be fearless. Peace.